Okay, it's reading time, guys. Now, if you want, we already did some of this during our cooking time, but if you want to read on your own a world of treats, there's a lot of great recipes. Ice Sticks is awesome. So you can go ahead and read that on your own. If you want to make any of those recipes, you can, no big deal. But we're going to go to Willie's Not the Hugging Kind on page 100. You can read this on your own or you can read it with me as I'm reading it to you right now. Alrighty, so let us begin. Willie's Not the Hugging Kind by Joyce Durham Barrett. Illustrated by Pat Cummings. Willie wanted someone to hug. That's what he wanted more than anything. But no one hugged Willie. Not anymore. Not even his daddy when he dropped Willie and his friend JoJo off at school. Now he just patted Willie on the head and said, "See you around, son." Willie didn't like to be patted on the head. It made him feel like a little dog. Besides, hugging felt much nicer no matter what JoJo said. Every day, JoJo rode to school in the linen truck with Willie and his daddy. And when Willie used to hug his daddy goodbye, JoJo would turn his head and laugh. What did you do that for? Man, that's silly, JoJo would say once they had crawled out of the truck. There's JoJo. There's Willie. So Willie stopped hugging his daddy. He never hugged his mama or his sister anymore either. And when they tried to hug Willie, he turned away. But Willie wanted someone to hug. That's what he wanted more than anything. At school, he watched as Miss Mary put her arms around some boy or girl. It didn't look silly, except when she tried to hug JoJo. JoJo made a big commotion that made everyone laugh. He wriggled and squirmed and shrieked, "Help! Help! I'm being mugged! Help!" At night, Willie watched his sister pull her teddy bear to her and hug it. She looked so safe and happy lying there with her arms around the bear. "Why do you hug that old thing?" Willie said. "That's silly." Rose frowned at Willie. "Who says?" she demanded. "JoJo says." "That's who says," Willie boasted. "Well, if you ask me, I think JoJo's silly," said Rose. "Besides," she said, squeezing the bear to her, "Homer's nice." But the next night, Willie pinched his nose and said, "What a smelly old bear. I wouldn't hug that old thing for $100. Not even for $1,000,000. That's silly." Rose pulled Homer in closer to her. "Willie," she said, "you're just not the hugging kind. Then, if that's how you feel." Willie flipped over in bed without even saying good night, sleep tight, God keep you all right. And his mind went around and around on whatever his sister had said. The words tick-tocked back and forth with the clock sitting on the table by his bed. Not the hugging kind, not the hugging kind, not the hugging kind. If that's how you feel. But that was not how Willie felt. More than anything, Willie wanted to be the hugging kind. Willie watched each morning as his daddy hugged first his mama and then Rose. He remembered how safe and happy he always felt with his daddy's strong arms around him. He remembered how good it felt to put his arms around his mama. She smelled a little like lemon and a little like the lilac powder in the bathroom. She felt big and a little lumpy. She also felt soft and safe and warm. One morning, Willie went into the kitchen and everyone was hugging everyone else. But no one hugged Willie. They didn't even see him. Willie waited, hoping someone would put their arms around him. If they did, maybe he wouldn't slip away. But no one tried. Rose just said when she saw Willie watching, You know that Willie says he isn't the hugging kind now. He says it's all too silly. I did not, said Willie, bristling. I like that word, bristling. Jojo said that. Oh, but you said it too, little brother, Rose said, laughing and tousling his hair. Oh, so Rose is the big sister. Very interesting. And bristling means he's kind of upset. He's getting all a little bit angry. Willie grabbed his lunch and his books and ran out the door to meet Jojo. Let's get out of here, Willie shrieked, breaking into a run. They're mugging everybody in there. Oh, that's not a nice way to put hugging. That afternoon, Jojo's mothers picked him up after school, so Willie walked home alone. He walked through the park and saw a young couple standing on the footbridge with their arms around each other. He walked down Myrtle Street and saw a woman and a man rushing down the steps from their porch to get some visitors with hugs all around. It seemed so long since Willie had a hug. He walked into the long, low branches of a willow tree and wrapped his arms around it. A blue jay flew down from a purple plum tree, and Willie reached out to its fluttering wings. He walked up to a stop sign and hugged it. Sounds like he's hugging all the wrong things. Let's see what happens next. He hugged his bike in front yard. He hugged the door to his house when he opened it, and he rushed inside to hug his mama. But she was too busy running the vacuum over the floors. Willie was kind of glad. After all, he felt a little silly. That night, after Willie had his bath, he took the old bath towel and draped it across the head of his bed. What's that for? Rose asked, hugging Homer to her. Nothing, said Willie. The next night, Willie put the old bath towel on the bed again, and the next night, and the next. Each night, when he was sure that Rose was not watching, he slipped the old towel down from the headboard and he hugged it. But it didn't feel soft and safe and warm. Willie wanted to hug someone, not something. Yeah, I guess they don't hug back, do they? Nope. Trees, signs, a towel, a bike. They don't hug back. That's what he's missing. Someone else's arms to hug him. Well, let's continue on. In the morning, Willie's mama was in the kitchen making biscuits. He watched Rose brush up to her and put her arms around her. When the biscuits were finished and browning in the oven, Willie went up and put his arms around his mama too, or almost around her. There was a little more to her than he remembered. She felt much nicer than an old towel, and even better, she hugged back. What's all this, Willie? She said, hugging around here on me so early in the morning. Yeah, Willie, said Rose. I thought all that hugging was too silly. Willie clung tighter to his mama. That's all right, said his mama. Willie knows, don't you, son, that it's them that don't get hugging who think it's silly. Willie looked up into his mama's face, smiling until he felt a tap on his shoulder. Turning, he saw his daddy smiling down at him. My turn, son, he said. Willie put his arms around his daddy, burying his face in the familiar khaki shirt and feeling once again secure in the warmth of the strong arms around him. Breakfast tasted better to Willie than it had in many a day. And when it came time to leave for school, Willie gave hugs all around. Jumping into the big truck, Willie and his daddy stopped by to pick up Jojo. When they arrived at school, Willie reached up and gave his daddy a quick, tight hug. Then he scooted out the door behind Jojo. What do you did that for, man? Jojo said once they were out of the truck. Don't you know that's silly? Willie gave his friend a shove on the shoulder. Maybe Jojo wouldn't let someone hug him, but he would allow a playful shove now and then. Go on now, Jojo, he said. I think you're what's silly. Jojo ran on ahead. Help! Help! He shrieked. I'm being mugged! Help! Now that's silly. But Willie didn't mind. He lagged behind, feeling warm and safe, knowing that he was, after all, the hugging kind. Oh, good story. The end. Okay, Joyce Durham Barrett. Joyce Durham Barrett grew up with lots of people to hug. She was the 10th child in a family of 11 children. If each child hugged every brother and sister just once, how many hugs would that be? Barrett is a writer and a school teacher. She lives in Georgia with her daughter. Pat Cummings. I don't always use real people in my pictures, but I did for this story. My husband posed for Willie's father, and a friend of mine posed for his mother. I had a hard time finding a Willie. Then I met a boy named David who was perfect for Willie. A friend of David's who came along with him posed for JoJo. I started by making sketches of how I wanted each picture to look. Then I had the real people pose like the sketches. I took photographs of them. I looked at the photographs as I printed the pictures. The pictures you see in the story were first painted with watercolors on heavy paper. Then I went over them with colored pencil. You might like to try this on some of the pictures you paint. That might be a good art one to do someday. Watercolor and then colored pencil. I like that idea. All right, I hope you enjoyed the story. Bye-bye.